Welcome back to our 2-Minute Tuesdays with Trish and Pastor Dave.
2-minute toot.
All right, today's question. Oh boy, you ready?
They're always fun.
All
I'm
right.
never ready. I mean, we should establish that.
That's
but
true.
Here we go.
Here we go. All right, the question's from Ava. What do you say to people who say trust in God with things like COVID, using it as a reason to gather, not wear masks, or not get vaccinated?
Okay. So start your clock because we have a fundamental misunderstanding of how God works here. God doesn't pick and choose people like you're really nice so you don't get sick and you're really bad and you are. Otherwise we'd be able to sort good and bad people in the hospital wards and what have you. And by the way, if you think that when someone dies of cancer or whatever that they were a bad person but the person who didn't was a good person, that just blows my mind. We have nothing to talk about at that point because that's just wrong. However, here is how God works. At the beginning of all things, when Adam and Eve bit the fruit and broke the whole world was broken. God had a choice. He could either remake the whole world and there would be perfection again, but none of us, or he would compromise and live with our imperfection, but continue to love us despite things going wrong.
Yeah.
Because God loved us, God made that second choice. That means that things on this earth are not going to be perfect, and God's not going to step in and smite out whatever that's evil, because God would have to smite all of us in order to get perfection, right?
Yeah.
Decide not to do that. So, here's how it works. God scoops up all of us at the end. After the imperfection is done, after we die, God says, I got you. Nothing that happens here can prevent that from happening. I love you. But in the meantime, with the imperfection, here's all I ask. Take care of each other. Love each other. That's what you do. Okay? Even though it won't solve the imperfection, this is how you deal with it in the meantime. When you have something like that where you say, I'm not going to wear a mask because God's going to save me from imperfection. Who are you? B, God doesn't work that way. C, why are you being so mean and contaminating and whatever, putting at risk your neighbor? Because that's the one thing God asks you not to do in the meantime. So, we wear masks, we put on, we're outdoors, so we're okay, but we wear masks and we put on, protection things to keep each other safe because that's the kind and that's the loving thing to do, which is following the command of God.
Yeah, well, if you have your own questions, send it at thelightofthespirit.church in the forum and
At pastor@sov-id.org, right?
yeah,
Pastor.
and you had one more, Twitter, right?
At Dave Deckard, Deckard. I'm stumbling
We're
over
all
my
stumbling.
information.
Yeah, I
It's
stumbled
all
too.
right.
I just
It's
passed
all
it on to you.
Because I'm guilty because I went over 2 minutes on that, I think slightly, but we'll see.
I don't know. I think you were in the
We're
ballpark.
going to see in the editing.
Yeah, I guess
we
we'll
won't
see
know right now.
what the
but
clock was.
She's going to put a halo over my head if I did it, and then if I didn't, it's like,
All right, we will see you next week for our next question.